What if the best foundation for a new year, new me isn't about reinventing yourself? What if it's about creating a better relationship with yourself in order to meet those goals? See, with the power of the new year, it's a classic, if not a cliche, to make all of these big plans for the new year. Oh, 2020 will be my year. 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025 will be my year. The year that I step out of my shell, I meet all my goals, I become the best version of me. All the works. You know, it's completely understandable. The new year's like a reset. 0101. Iconic. New Year's resolutions are, in my opinion, good ideas. Good ideas to find out what you actually want to do with your year or your life. A lot of people don't believe in them, and that somewhat makes sense because in between the sometimes unrealistic goals, the inconsistency, the burnout, lifing, you kind of get lost in the process. Here's how to actually meet your New Year's resolution goals despite the previous years of you trying and failing. And I know you must be wondering, what's this magical, mystical thing that's going to help me meet my goals despite not meeting them in the past or only meeting them partially? I present to you the letter. Like early mid-high school, I started writing these letters to myself. They're my end of the year letters. I write one every single year on the 31st to be opened the following year on the 31st. This is a letter that I usually pair with my New Year's resolution. So I'll have my yearly goals, I'll have the vision board, I'll have all of that, but I also have this. See, now, writing these letters started off as a self-care practice, but over the years, I've noticed a big change in some things with myself. So, I know I'm talking about this letter a lot, and I'm not really giving much information about what's in there, but this is actually one for the 31st of 2024, December 2024, so I'm not allowed to open this one yet. But I also have the one from last year that I wrote myself. So these letters are, these letters were just like a way for me to connect with myself and like communicate with like a past version of myself. I struggled with a lot of things when I was in high school, and I really just wanted someone to be there to tell me that it was going to be okay. I needed a moment in the year where I could reflect on everything that happened and be there for myself, because I'm the only one that knows what happened in the past 365 days. You're the only one that knows what happened in the past 365 days. Like, yes, you told people, but they weren't there and they weren't experiencing everything. They weren't feeling all the emotions as overwhelming as they can be. They weren't going through the struggles themselves. So truly, you're the only one that knows everything you went through, everything you had to overcome, everything that kicked your butt, everything that you felt you could have handled differently. So who better than yourself to give you your congratulations? Because, you know, regardless of what age you are, this is your first time being a human being. If you're 35, it's your first time being 35. If you're 55, it's your first time being 55. If you're 15, if you're 23, if you're 19, if you're 27, it's your first time being that year. And you're not gonna get everything right, even though you really want to. Writing these letters yearly to myself changed something. And it wasn't intentional. It wasn't intentional. Over time, it helped me change my inner monologue, because these letters are designed to be super compassionate and to kind of remind yourself to give yourself some grace. It kind of pushed me to be more mindful of what I was saying to myself, because I knew that at the end of the year, I would have to sit with a 1 year younger version of myself, and I'd have to read her letter to me And I know she dragged my for not being nice to myself because she's insane. At first I was like, oh yeah, of course I can be nice to myself 1 year from now. I don't know what actually happened. And then I'm reading, I'm like, oh, you love me so unconditionally, self, from 1 year ago. You don't actually know what happened. I deserve to be in the situation that I'm in. And as the years went by and the life experiences went by, I was like, it doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter how I moved through that year. I knew for a fact I just did the best I could. And over time, I got to understand that I am deserving of grace. You are deserving of grace. You're deserving of having space being created for you. Sometimes you just have to be the one creating the space for yourself. That's okay. Now, with my internal monologue changing, so did my approach to meeting goals. And the thing is, major changes in my internal monologue didn't have to happen. It was just like slight changes, like mindset shifts. That's what this was. With the simplest of change in how I talk to myself and how I relate to myself, I became a lot more comfortable with the one thing that if you do not have it, kiss goodbye to your goals. Consistency. Changing my internal monologue and setting up like this yearly meeting with myself where I go over what I want and go over my goals and what I hope for and seeing how that changed, but also creating a space for myself to give myself grace and to tell myself that, hey, I know you had plans and I know that there might be a version of the end of this year that you didn't meet those, but it's still okay. That kind of gave me the bravery, the strength to still push forward. Because the thing with consistency is, consistency doesn't necessarily mean never faltering. Consistency, from a very realistic standpoint, is still doing a thing, even though it's not perfect. Let me use like the gym as an example. I went on like a 3-month like spree of, oh, I want to lose a certain amount of pounds, I want to become more fit, I want to do this, I want to do that, blah 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 blah. I did lose weight. I'm almost at the goal weight that I set for that time frame. I didn't go to the gym like the way I intended to. I wanted to go 3 times a week. I wanted to hit this, that, but life happened. And this is how we come back to this, because there were plenty of times where I didn't feel good. Like maybe I was on my period. Maybe I was just like super stressed and I did not eat the way I was supposed to. And I did not go to the gym the way I was supposed to. And I would stop. Like I've stopped for a week and a half. Stopped for 2 weeks. And depending on how long your goal is, you'll stop for even a month sometimes. But because I've kind of created this relationship with myself where I wouldn't allow myself to drag me. Trust me, I can't. I can drag myself. But I was kind of coming up on not being hard on myself. Some version of being hard on yourself is okay, because you need some tough love, I guess. But if being hard on yourself was going to solve all of your problems, if bullying yourself was going to be the thing that motivated you to do what you wanted or needed to do, it would have happened by now. It would have happened by now. And that's kind of the concept that I'm holding on to. It's like, I'm no stranger to being mean to myself. I'm no stranger to being really hard on myself. I'm no stranger to being extremely self-critical. I'm no stranger to just giving literally everyone around me grace but me. And that hasn't helped. That hasn't worked. The moment I made that shift, I was able to recenter myself and like sit in my body and be like, things are hard. Things are difficult. I would validate the hell out of my struggle. Because I am struggling with something. It's not that I don't want it. It's not like you don't want it. You're struggling with something. Validate the hell out of your struggle. I'm going through a tough time. I'm not as motivated, which is very normal, very human. I don't have the support system to push myself past this point. Oh, it really feels hopeless right now. It feels like it's the end of the world. I don't think I could ever get past this thing. And you'd feel all of that and say, I know this is difficult. I know this is hard. I know that this is something that you're struggling with and that is valid. And you deserve to feel everything that's flowing through you right now. And you deserve to feel upset and disappointed. But you also deserve this thing that you really want. And you're going to achieve this thing that you really want because you deserve being in a better place. So even when I would fall off for the longest while, I would just sit with myself, feel what I'm feeling, have this talk with myself, and then I would circle back. Be like, hey, I know this is difficult. We're having our moment right now. But this moment is not going to last forever. We have things to do. So I allow myself the space to experience what I'm experiencing right now. So I can go back to what I know I need to do. Because regardless of how I'm feeling, the goal still exists. I still want to get this done. This is still something that is important to me. This is something that I deserve to have. And I'm going to do it regardless. See, with this yearly letter that I write to myself, and I think you should too. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a yearly thing. It could be on your birthday. It could be every 3 months. It could be every 6 months. It could be a really good check-in time for you. So I want to show you how to make yours. For your letter, you're obviously going to start with a greeting. You're going to greet yourself. You're talking to a future version of yourself. And it's important to keep in mind throughout writing this letter that even though you're speaking to a version of yourself that's 1 year older, this is also her first time being 1 year older than you are. So you're not gonna be like, hope you achieve this, that. That's not how you're approaching this. You can mention it, but it's more important that you express to yourself, you express to her or him or them that you believe in them, that you love them, that you understand what it feels like to be in their place. Even though you technically don't know what you're going to go through, you know what your life's been the past couple of years, and you know what you desperately needed to hear, but you never did. And you know yourself to some extent to know that in certain situations you will do this or that. You're going to start with a greeting. And I like to do like a quick 2-paragraph recap of like what happened that year. Like if I was writing mine now, which I won't until the 31st, I'm going to write what happened throughout the year, what changed, yada, yada, yada. Or if I had a particularly particularly interesting day or week, I will mention what happened. You know, like the year will pass, you kind of forget what the day was like, but you have a written record of the shit. So you're gonna read it, you're gonna know what mental space you were in, and it's okay that if you're not having a good time, you communicate that. Like this one that I wrote, December 31st, 2022, I was having a rough day. After your recap, you start expressing your well wishes. If you're in a good mood or a bad mood, you're gonna hope that 1 year from now you're in a better mood. You're having an okay time. And even if you're not having an okay time, you should read this letter and feel like someone's there for you. And one thing about me, I'm gonna make myself cry, so be as touchy-feely as you would like to be, I personally get right into the feels, and I get right into the nitty-gritty of things, and I know what I'm struggling with, so I know what to target. Reassure yourself of like things that have affected you and is likely to affect you for the 1 year near future. And you can also finish it off with like hopes for, you know, what you would accomplish. But the main purpose of this letter, besides to serve as a, like a, what do you call it? When I remember the word, it's gonna pop up on the screen. That it's, you know, besides serving as that, it's also just a way to reconnect with yourself. Finally, we're gonna do a closing. Like any usual closing, you just want it to be sweet. If there's one thing you could tell a future version of yourself that you know based on like your past experiences, what you know you would want to hear, what you need to hear, write it down. This is a love letter to yourself. You deserve to be loved. As hard and cheesy as possible. Now, I'm going to go over parts of mine and put my glasses on because I'm blind. My glasses are also dirty. Mind your business. I actually highlighted parts of mine, so it's going to be real easy to go over, just snippets. And I quote, I hope as you're reading this, you're in a good headspace. And if you're not, maybe you can rest. Take a deep breath in, out, in, out. Ease your heart and know that I love you. Know that I'm proud of you. Know that I adore you. Know that I adore your strength, even if you might not see it in yourself. I trust you, and I hope we've been working on a few things. I hope we've learned to trust ourselves more, trust our judgment, trust our gut, trust your own decisions and your ability to choose what's right for you. Trust yourself to fail, and trust yourself to try again. Trust yourself to pave your own path. I don't know what this year's gonna throw at us, but I know one thing. You're strong enough to push past it. Past the doubt, the fear, the anger, the rage, the lack of motivation. And if you feel like giving up, take a second to gather yourself and show up for yourself. Just spitting. Let me just... I love you. I love you so much. I'm pushing to make life better for us. I'm putting the shoulder to the wheel for us. But we are also human, so grace should be given whenever we feel like we're falling short or behind. Just keep showing up, my love. It doesn't matter how little it feels. You show up for yourself. You show up for us. Give yourself grace and love. Allow yourself to be human. Be forgiving towards yourself. Strive for your goals and stick to them. This is a great way to show up for yourself. And then I kind of went into some personal things that I was really hoping for, which I ended up having by the time I read this, which was nice. But here's my closing. Anyways, my love, this is where I leave you. I hope to hear from you soon, in about a year or so. Take deep breaths, love hard, be present, and show up for yourself. I love you, Jen. And I tried really hard not to cry. But I cried when I read it. I sure did. Now, again, this isn't something you necessarily have to do yearly. You could do it yearly, every 6 months, every 3 months, however way works for you. But I really think it's an important practice to have as someone who wants to hit their goals. Because if I didn't kickstart this years ago and ended up working on my self-talk, I wouldn't have the trust in myself to be consistent even if I fall off. There's plenty more to learn that I'm aware of, and I'm excited to. But I know that every single year, I have one thing to get back to. A love letter from myself from like a year ago. And I look forward to it every single year. And I think it's something that you can also benefit from. So I think you should write one. And if you have any like questions about them, you can like leave them in the comments. Talk about like your own version of like my yearly letter. Things that you think would help you like through the year, like different versions of this practice that you think is a great idea. I want to know. I can always add on mine. I would absolutely like to know ways I can improve it. I'd absolutely love to know like your thoughts and feelings on that. So let me know. I will be reading every single last one of them. Trust. But it's a great way to kind of get that ball rolling. And a lot of the times when there's something that we can do that would help us like better things for us in the long run, we don't do it because you feel like it isn't going to happen immediately. If I had that approach to the things that I did, which I used to have it, and I still kind of do, I'd miss out on so many things. Because starting like a long-term thing, you have like a goal in mind, but along the way, you build so many beautiful things. And I feel like that's important. So, tell me about your letters. I'm not going to be greedy and ask you to send them to me. But I will absolutely read them if you do. Anyways, it's time for me to go now. I hope you have a good day. Bye.